You won't need to worry what to call it. It won't be there.
Yeah.
So on that recommendation, they changed the name. And then very rapidly people understood this is not something that we spend. It would be stupid to spend it, the National Pension Fund. And so the Populist Party disappeared. So communication matters, getting language right, words matter.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's and words matter not just for natural resources, but for building national unity. All these processes that we started with, we can draw to a close and finish with, that trying to build national purpose, common purpose, depends on using language more successfully than the charlatans, the mavericks, the Donald Trumps of this world. And so we have to be just as smart as the clever mavericks. We've got one advantage. What we say can be honest. And in the end, an honest message, I think, will win out over a dishonest message. Honest hopefulness can trump dishonest hopefulness. But as Trump shows, dishonest hopefulness will trump honest misery.
I like the fact that you say that language matters. And I wonder, I mean, especially in economics, we can maybe throw around language, but I wonder, will you think of certain terms like development or even developing countries? We throw this term around like, we'll have developed countries and developing countries. But as, for example, left behind countries, someone will call them developing countries, saying, well, they're developing. No, actually, they're not developing and they're getting worse. So how important is it to get the words right, and how meaningful is it to use correct language?
I think it's very important. I think this distinction between developing and developed is a rubbish set of descriptions. There are some countries that are falling down. Even once high-income ones. I mean, Argentina has been declining relatively for 120 years. By virtue of its past, it's still in the G20. But really, it's a declining country. Ethiopia is a fast-growing country. It's a rising country. And so, in a way, a better language is rising countries and falling countries. Africa has several rising countries. India is very clearly a rising country. And so that concept, I think, is a more helpful distinction. These are countries that are clearly on a path to building a more prosperous, a more inclusive future. And then the countries that are on the way down. I'd like to believe in a country that I live in a country which is still on the way up, but let's see. Let's see. It needs to be.